Hey everyone, Genome here, coming at you with a project that I just devised and threw together on a whim, believe it or not. What I did was collect many of the comic book, content creators I interact with on a regular basis, and what I do is compare them to what I believe are their comic book analogs. So, for instance, if a if a creator had a penchant for smoking whilst doing their videos and maybe cracking jokes, I would liken them to the Human Torch. In this case, I stuck to only Marvel characters, as they're the ones that I know the best. I hope that others will, do similar videos to see what other great ideas you have, or to see if any of my choices line up with yours. This community is a great one, and I would love to see other creators' takes on this. I really would. This isn't a contest or anything. It's just a fun little project that I believe, kind of gets the creative juices flowing and tests your improv skills a bit. Well, without further ado, here's what I come up with. First off, we're going to start with Lindsay's geeked out knickknacks. Until recently, I would have called her the Invisible Woman, as we never got to see her. Well, now that she's jumped in front of the camera, I would liken her more to Silver Sable, as she collects an army of collectibles and other assorted toys around her, or maybe even Megan, as she is metamorphosized into an on-camera personality. Next up will be Common Cat 84. Kenny over at Common Cat 84 has to be the analog to the Collector. His prodigious acquisition of slabs recently has cemented this comparison. Get it? Slabs? Cemented? I kill me.
Ha! Yeah! I kill me!
Next up we have Metrog. To me, Roger is the Professor X personified. He uses this platform to highlight and thus gather others to this, the comic team, comic community. Plus, his obvious benevolence is impossible to deny. Next, we have Reggie Collects. Reggie has got to be the juggernaut. For one, he pulls off the physique aspect of the character better than most of us. And his sub-gathering, seems unstoppable. He just gets so many subs, it's crazy. Next up, we have Comics with Bueller. Bueller. This creator has the Kingpin written all over him. First off, his influence is obvious. Also, he's used his vast resources to have others pay homage to him in videos. It's brilliant. All joking aside, Bueller's a swell guy, other than being a supervillain and all. It's occupational hazard, I guess. Next up, we got Thanatos Comics. I gotta go with the Punisher here. We were both in the military, but unlike me, he is killing the competition on YouTube. Subwise, that is. I considered likening him to Captain America, but Cap doesn't drink, and occasionally, Frank Castle doesn't imbibe. Plus, Thanatos ain't got blonde hair. Next up, we have 64-page special. Hey gang, 64 is the Watcher. He lurks in wait of a contest. Then boom! He jumps right in there with a never-ever humorous entry.
Are you kidding?
His is a cursed life of only watching, yet never interfering. Okay, this one's a bit of a stretch, but I like the fact, that calling 64 the Watcher makes him sound just a wee bit pervy. Next up, we got the Gray Man. I'm kind of torn on this one, as I think he fits two different characters very well, actually. My first thought was Claw from the older comics, as he is a tad bit insane, and his body is made up of sound, akin to Gray Man's penchant for music. Still, I think I will have to cast him as Deadpool, as there's never any predicting what Gray Man is going to say or even shoot a video about. He just sort of records in a constant state of free association. I can dig that, though. Next up, we got JPL Flash Comics Geekdom. This one will be pretty, hokey and all, but JPL is obviously either Captain Britain or Union Jack. God save the JPL. Well, back-to-back dirty Brits. When is this world coming to? Next up is I Love Sun Comics. Here's a textbook example of Mr. Fantastic personified. Friendly, gregarious, and always getting helpful information out there for the community. I guess it wouldn't be a stretch to say that he hasn't strived to build a better team, aka community, with his knowledge. Way to go, way to go. Next up, we got Rayman the Silencer Man. This one was bloody easy. Rayman is the real-life equivalent of Longshot. Rayman's uncanny luck in winning subscriber contests is legendary. Damn lucky stiff. Next up, we got Comic Book McD. Gonna have to liken him to the, the in-betweener, as he hops between comic book and video game content quite a bit lately. The duality of content creation is strong with this one. This one's Lisa Scott. Next up, we got C. Woodard. This was kind of a tough one. The man is an eternal well of comic knowledge, and he is no slouch either when it comes to historical wrestling. And wrestlers are known for acrobatics. Because of these traits, I'm going to go with a pre-blue fur beast of the X-Men. Hank McCoy is also quite affable, which also lines up, with the ever-jovial C. Wood. Lines up pretty well, I'd say. Moving right along, we got Comic Books NYC. This one was easy. This guy is the Red Hulk. How did I come to this conclusion, you ask? Well, he has a penchant for drinking both Red Bull and Red Stripe. If his favorite video game happens to be Red Dead Redemption, then this is truly life imitating art. Alright, next up is White Whale Comics. Victor Von Doom. This creator obviously has soaring intellect, coupled with his generally dispassionate demeanor, and what looks to be an innate need to conquer the entire planet. And you too will come up with this obvious conclusion. I also consider Baron Mordo, as Whale looks like he might possess forbidden wisdom of yore, and the beard fits well. Alright, next one down the chute is D-Runk Comics. You, my friend, are Iron Man, or more specifically Tony Stark. Tony is highly intelligent, and used to be quite the prodigious drinker to boot. Next round's on me. Next one coming down the pipe is Soldier Only. This dynamic duo reminds me somewhat of Cloak and Dagger. They appear inseparable and are obviously the good guys. No dark dimension to be found here, but meh. And not everything lines up perfectly. Come on now, give me some time, give me some breaks here. Next up we got Matilda Gothica. Given her proclivity to creating artwork, I would probably liken her to Cerise. Cerise can, create things out of nothing, and isn't that what artists do? Another thought was the avant-garde, but since there are 3 of them, I figured I'd better revise my thinking. They were C-listers anyway. Next up, we got Geeks, Drinks, and Comics. This creator has a sagacious wit about him, swills beer, and leads off his videos with the X-Men theme. That makes him Wolverine in my book. Time to add cigars to your repertoire. Complete the image, my friend. Alright, next up, we got Who Dat Comics. Back when I was a sports fan, the Saints were my team as well. Your handle alone makes Gambit the obvious choice to liken to you. Now go enjoy some smoking filet gumbo and toss playing cards at your adversaries. Always keep in character, my friend. Moving on to Filgamesh. Well, given the play on words, of the ancient story in his handle, I'm going to have to go with Marvel's take on Dracula as his comic mirror. There's also another tie-in for this. Phil makes references to Mel Brooks movies, and Mel Brooks wrote and directed Dracula, Dead and Loving It. Seems like a no-brainer there. Alright, coming up on Checkload of Comics. Given his positivity and, the fact that he is currently the survivor of the polar vortex in Chicago, old Chuck has got to be Iceman as he was originally written. Stay warm, Bobby. I mean, Chuck. Alright, coming down the pipe is Comic Book Gallery. Joaquin and Peter Rasputin seem to have much in common as far as being artists. So I would posit that Colossus would be your comic equivalent. Des Badanye. Alright, the always imitable Kingpin Comics is next. This one was a tad difficult, but I will say he reminds me a bit of Zarko in that he has something of a comic collecting time traveler story. He's actually a lot like me. He started collecting a long time ago, back in the early 80s, gave it up for a longer period of time than that, and then, then got back into it. Way to go, Zark. Coming down to Tony Sanders. Given Tony's laid-back demeanor, I will go with him being the real-life equivalent of Wonder Man. Wendy never appears perturbed. He also has no problem laying down a humorous quip from time to time either. You also appear to be a star in the community, given your rapidly climbing sub count, which also fits the profile. Yes, Tacoma Comics. Okay, this one will be a bit two-tiered, and that'll have to go by background and physical appearance. For background, Tacoma is a big fan of the original Star Wars movies, and these were known for their special effects. Now, as for appearance, I merged bald with glasses, all into one feature. I call it, basses, I guess.
What?
The character that fit these both was none other than Mysterio. He used to be involved in the movie special effects business, and his dome is a great representation of basses. The Go-To Geeks. Pretty easy one here. Since the channel has a few contributors, I will liken them to Multiple Man. If you get monetized one day, y'all gotta split the money. Man, I'm just full of those tonight. Simon Comics. Since he is the expert on the Golden Age and is living in the modern age, we will say that he is Captain America. You got big boots to fill, man. Don't let your country down, soldier. Whew, they just keep coming and coming. Next up, we got Comics Addiction. You know, for a play on words, I will liken Comics Addiction to Archangel in that his cybernetic wings are pretty much addicted to spilling blood. I know it's a bit of a stretch, but what are you going to do? Another option would be Morbius, the living vampire who is addicted to drinking blood in a sense. So, you know, I'm kind of sorry about all the blood inferences here, but it is hard to find many addicts in comics, and Cloak was already taken. Perhaps Venom could have fit the bill as well, as he is somewhat addicted to being a symbiote. And he used to have a pretty raging case of addiction of killing Spider-Man, actually. Whew. Not done yet. Nope, there's more to come. So next up we got Bub's Comics. Since the Dave Matthews Band was his favorite group in high school, I will speculate that Spider-Man fits the bill. You know, I always kind of envisioned Spidey would be someone who would listen to the Dave Matthews Band. I don't know why I think that, but I just do. So what would you say about that? Or did my comparison crash?
Okay, well, thank you for that, whatever that was.
Moving on. The Boy Who Had 7. Well, since The Boy Who Had 7 has a big family, I will have to liken him to Magneto. You know, while comic characters are not well known for their family lives, Magneto had quite a brood. Not much in common as far as personalities go. Hey, but you gotta work with what you got, right? Alright, next up we got Mr. Miracle Comics. This one was pretty easy. Given his history in Canada and his affinity for approaching bears in the wilderness, I'm going to have to go with Alpha Flight Sasquatch. Now, make sure to chug down some maple syrup and embrace your inner Squatch. Up next is Silver Age Dave. Old Dave reminds me of Hawkeye with his wit, not to mention that his jokes always seem to hit the bullseye. Yes, folks, I'm here all week. Weak, very weak. Comic Spectre is up. Given his affinity for fireworks, I am going to say that Cannonball is likely your most analogous comic book character, as the guy is basically a living firework, at least when he's flying. Whew, we're not done yet there, folks. Punisher Comics. Despite his handle, he actually kind of reminds me of Strong Guy, for his low-key sense of humor, and there always seems to be a smile bubbling right beneath the surface when he's talking and doing videos, so. And finally, we're coming up to Journos Comics and Pop Culture. Chris over at Journos kind of reminds me of the Beyonder from Secret Wars 2. In that series, the Beyonder goes through a phase where he's giving everyone gifts, and just, he just seems like a real nice guy. And that pretty much sums up Chris. Man, we got a big community. Phew, I'm gonna get a breather after this. Anyway, alright, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up there. I know that I missed lots of people, the community's huge. But I don't want this video to be over an hour long. Plus it takes a ton of time to set up, shoot, and edit a video like this, and I was just running out of time. I will leave it up to the community to pick up the slack and get the recognition to the people that I missed. So what say you? Want to give this challenge a try? I would love to see everyone else's take on this, and I kind of hope that others will take up the challenge. Of course you don't have to limit yourself to just Marvel characters. Kind of like I did, but just let your imagination run free. I just know Marvel the best, so I figured it'd be the best way to associate. If you don't want to, make a vid, post something in the comments and tell me what you think of my selections. Well, that'll do it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, this is Genome with a plethora of community people out there. Out.